all, all
Right?
the
It's done.
happiness, all the religions, etc., that we in India give to the world. This is what I call real friendship that comes about. Uh,
Beautiful and diverse.
all this while, Moini and the other girls had taken over and said, "No, no, we'll talk, we'll talk." This time I said, "No, I will talk. She's my classmate. I know her more than you guys do."
Okay.
Uh,
Go
well,
on.
let it do. Kaveri is a classmate of mine, and I am Calcutta. And believe it or not, this small little girl suddenly comes and says, "Hey, I'm in the first year also." We looked at her and said, "Oh, is it so?" She looked like a schoolgirl, damn it.
Mhm.
And there she was. She came in as looking like a schoolgirl, but made her presence felt everywhere. Was not afraid to take on the huge hulking people we all were and say what she wanted to say. Kaveri, you're a friend and a great and a gem of a friend. Thank you for being you.
Thank you, Satish.
It
We
is
did
more.
our summer internship together in Bombay.
Oh yes, that also.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember rushing to Burma for the beautiful lunch that they used to give,
Yeah. Yeah.
and hiding away in the corner so that no one would come and talk until the chief fellow come, chief minister, well, not minister, the chief general manager there comes to
Hmm.
us and said, "Yeah." And then he says, "Yes, but you should have a second helping of ice cream too." Yay! Okay,
Okay,
Kaveri.
folks. So
So that
Kaveri
was
will
good.
now carry on.
Kaveri was a classmate of
Everybody,
mine
please.
at IIM
Mm,
Calcutta. She
Hmm.
was the only girl in a class of about 75, 73 people or so, and held her own. I'm very, very happy to see that. I believe women should come and say, हाँ, मी बनते हो, मैं कह रहा हूँ, वो भी सुनना चाहिए. Okay. Uh, this is IMC. She was at, I think, St. Stephen's, weren't you before that?
Miranda House.
Miranda House, and then came on over. And ever since then, we have been friends and very close to it. Now, I remember her unafraid to talk to people, willingness to take a point, be firm about it, learn to say, I'm saying I'm the right. No, she would be pleasantly saying, we'll talk about it, and became one of us completely. We didn't have this man woman kind of a thing that comes even in IIT. We had a girl who was very strong on her feet and held her own. I enjoy having friends like that, her and Kaveri with us. Okay, now Kaveri, as I said, I am Calcutta and I am St. Stephen's Miranda House before. Worked in the industry, and Moini is now going to come and tell me what to do.
Okay.
There she
So,
comes.
so
Anyway,
shall,
so
uh-huh.
look, so I don't think we need to introduce you far more. I'm just
No,
a little
I'm ready
sorry
to
that I
start.
couldn't get more people coming in, and I will see that this message, what you have done, will go on.
Huh.
Uh, she's taken on a very good subject, and I've met the gentleman's father because he used to be uh, Jaipur Lit Fest, etc. There we met, and he, this British supported me in responding to uh, a British gentleman making his. So I told him that no, Churchill was wrong, and this man also stood up and said, I agree with this gentleman. Churchill did this, etc. So
Mm.
he supported me without hesitation that time, and we became friends from there on. His father, I mean, he was there, and his son is the one who's written the book. I haven't read this book, but I have the other book, and I think it is worthwhile. Any one of us should read it and see that India is not the sword time, sword hanging time and sword thing, but we did a lot and lot of work all the way from Japan on this side to USA on there. We Indians used to go for our trade. I think this has been a wonderful thing that we did, and we never kind of thumped our chest around. And let us not thump our chest even now. Let us try to get everything going. So please, again, when he comes, you take on the thing, and any queries, etc. will be asked for you at the end of it. Please go ahead.
Okay. So then I'll just start, Mohini. Let me
Satish,
just
start Mohini is number 2.
Okay. Apologies, Satish, the
I'm
power
okay.
behind the throne. Yes. So I'm just starting then. Here we are. Let me share this presentation. Share. That's the one. Here we are. Yes. So yeah. So Shattered Lands, and I've got Sam Dalrymple. Before I go, excuse me, let me just go back to the first one. Yeah. So I have read this as a lay person. I'm not a historian. Some of you may be, and you probably have a different perspective about this. I really enjoyed reading this book. It has a very broad sweep. It covers not the partition that we are all very familiar with, I think each one of us, which is the India-Pakistan partition, which is the number 3 on his list of 5 partitions. He starts with the partition of Burma. I will try to finish as close to 30 minutes as possible so that we can have some time to discuss this. I found it a very interesting book, very engaging style. He does use a lot of anecdotal material, but this is a book which is based on serious scholarship and a lot of archival research. Now, so I had some, having read it, as I said, as a non-historian, some things which I took away from this, which I would briefly like to discuss. The first was, of course, that I really had no idea that the partition of Burma or its afterlife would have such long-term significance for India. I hadn't connected the dots, and I got this from reading the book. The second thing which occurs to me, this book starts in the 1920s in India.
Disconnected.
She's frozen.
Yeah. She's frozen.
Oh dear.
She was saying disconnected.
Oh, she'll come back, but let's just try to be calm and wait it out.
This is
There
very
she
sad.
is.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. So let me just carry on. So for a country like ours, which had such a contested beginning, and we are multi-ethnic, multi-religious, we inherited fault lines from that partition. And unless we are careful, those fault lines could become chasms. The third thing which occurred to me about this book, again, is that ultimately there are a handful of people who decide on the destiny of nations. This possibly happens in history. The Indian independence movement, I'm talking about the third partition, the Indian independence movement had a mass following. There were large numbers, millions and millions of people who contributed to the independence effort, thanks to Gandhiji and the mass base that he gave the Congress Party. Jinnah did the same for the Muslim League. So there were millions of people, and Vasu is here, I think, amongst us. Vasu's father was a freedom fighter, and he took several blows, including one to the head in one of his, in all the, meetings that he attended. in the fight for independence. But given that ultimately it is a few people who then finally make the decisions. So Netaji Subhash Bose also contributed, Bhagat Singh did, the other revolutionaries did, but in my perception, ultimately it comes down to Gandhiji, Jinnah, Nehru and Patel. Mind you, at that time, there was a formal Congress Working Committee meeting, and whenever there were any decisions that were made, the Congress leaders had a discussion in their meeting. So these four, Gandhiji, Jinnah, Nehru, and Patel, were all barristers. But of all four of them, only Nehru lived long enough to see his fledgling nation enter the second decade of his existence. All the others perished far too early. Gandhiji in January 1948, Jinnah in September the same year, and Patel in December 1950. The other thing about this book, I became aware of the princely states and the part they played in, in the integration of India much later in my life. In this book, it is, one understands the sometimes really fractious, problematic, complicated process through which they were integrated into our country, and it is entirely to the credit of Patel and his right-hand man, V.P. Menon, that this could happen. And as we will see later, perhaps to some extent, the princely states took care of the border problems that Radcliffe was faced with. And then finally, I am profoundly grateful whenever I read a book like this, that the founding fathers of our nation equipped us with such a strong foundation of democracy that we did not go the way of all those other nations who surround us, some of which this book covers. And we still, notwithstanding Indira Gandhi's brief flirtation with emergency. So then here, these are the partitions. The first was the partition of Burma, 1937. Then the Arabian Peninsula also, by the way, it was April 1st, April Fool's Day when both of these were done. That means the western and the eastern extents of the British Indian Empire were then separated from the Indian peninsula. Then, of course, 1947, the big one, India and Pakistan. Then the integration of princely India, which, of course, took till 1948. And then, of course, Bangladesh. Now, excuse me. Excuse me if my slide is not moving. You all can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. One sec. Let me just get this moving. Let me just come and see. Okay, I think, yeah, there we are. So this is the British Indian passport, which extended, which was valid across this vast geographical spread. And this is a map of the British Indian Empire at the time when Dalrymple writes this book, from Aden on the west, going all the way to Burma in the east. The pink parts are the British India, which is directly under British rule. The yellow ones are the princely states. You can see how extensive they are. But of course, let's make no mistake about this. The princely states were completely under the control and the thumb of the British. And it was low cost, maximum benefit for them to run it this way. And these princely states were extremely loyal to the British Empire. They provided a lot of the troops for World War I and World War II. They also supported the British during the 1857 First War of Independence. So they were some of their most loyal subjects. Here then is what happens. Dalrymple talks about 12 nations which were broken up from that British Indian Empire. We have 6 of them here: Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Burma, more on the east side. And then here we have, starting with Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, and Yemen on the western side. So the first one, the partition of Burma, I have a kind of personal connection with this. So my father was born in Burma. My grandfather, who was a barrister, when he came back from England, he decided that the Calcutta High Court was already far too crowded, and so he had started a flourishing legal practice in Rangoon. There was a big Bengali population in Rangoon. They were mostly in the professions. They were doctors, they were lawyers, they were teachers, they were professors, they were administrators. There was a big Marwari population also who were, engaged in trade and commerce. What I didn't realize, and which this book points out, is that there was the Chettiars had a significant presence also in Burma. Now, my grandfather, of course, had early onset, very severe osteoarthritis. He almost got crippled. The whole family left in 1930. By that time, the Chettiars had only 6% of the land owning in Burma. But after this, particularly the 1929 worldwide global economic crisis, there was a lot of distress selling of land, and they eventually owned 25% of the land in Burma. So now Burma was a very sort of economically profitable, it was doing very well as a colony. Rangoon was a very busy port, but the Burmese were getting increasingly resentful of the Indian domination in their country, in their lands. And particularly the Chettiar land ownership became one of the issues. And then in the 30s, there were repeated kind of protests, demonstrations against Indians, and the Burmese felt that the Indians looked down upon them, which is, when we see what happens with Northeast India, we can understand what that means. So the British decided that, that it would make sense to separate Burma out, and very prominently Gandhiji had mentioned that he didn't think that Burma should be part of India. It was not part of Bharatvarsh. So this partition then came about in 1937. Now, before I go to the long-term implications of that, just a brief detour on something which also caused shockwaves in the subcontinent. Here, I think you can see on the top left-hand corner, there is Aung San, and of course, incidentally, his daughter in the bottom, in the middle, Aung San Suu Kyi, who has devoted her life to try and bring democracy to Burma. So Aung San had won an election. He was the interim prime minister. Now I'm fast forwarding to 1947. Burma got its independence in 1948 January. In 1947, they had won an election. He was running interim government. They were having a cabinet meeting. And my father had described to me that what happened was that his bitter rival, a man called Yu So, who later reports suggest was given arms and ammunition by 2 British officers. He sends in a group of people dressed in army fatigues. They are carrying their guns with them. They burst into this room where this cabinet meeting is taking place. Aung San is assassinated, and there was apparently the hail of bullets in an arc going around the room. And 6 other cabinet ministers died. Half the Burmese cabinet was wiped out. It, of course, sent shockwaves through India, Pakistan, the subcontinent. This is July 1947. We were in the last phases of the moving towards partition. And fortunately, Burma still went ahead to become, at that stage, a democratic republic. The British helped. Another prime minister, Union, was put in place, and they eventually went on to independence in 1948. Now, there are later accounts that the Aung San's British lawyer was murdered. An independent British reporter who was investigating the causes of the assassination was also killed. So, well, there is a story there. So this was, of course, a jolt to India, Pakistan, the British when it happened. So, and to come back to all the major consequences of the partition of Burma. Firstly, the Naga problem. You know, the British are infamous for their, the borders that they draw between countries. Now, there is apparently Patkai Hills between Burma and India, and it was not very well surveyed. Well, they did this border line through them, and 1/5 of Naga population was left in Burma, 4/5 in India. It became a perennial issue of disaffection and insurgency. Then, of course, the same thing with the Mizos. Part of the Mizos left in Burma, part in India. Apparently, some sacred territories for the Mizos, the sacred lake was in Burma. Now, the Mizo problem became so difficult that for the first time in the history and only time in the history of India, Indira Gandhi, of course it was, she got the Air Force to bomb the hideouts of the Mizo National Front. Eventually, it took 20 years when Rajiv Gandhi finally settled the problem and Mizoram as a state was born. So then the Rohingya crisis, because the Rohingyas claimed they were part of Burma for generations, but they were Muslim and Burma was Buddhist. They were always regarded with suspicion. Then during the Second World War, what happened was Burma supported the Japanese. So did Aung San for a long time. Whereas the Rohingyas supported the British. That caused even more of a difference between them. So eventually the man who was responsible for the assassination of Aung San, you saw, he classified the Rohingya as Indian foreigners. And this terminology was apparently used. They've always had problems with the Burmese, and this terminology was used when the more recent martial law came in, and then there was a full-scale pogrom against them, and they were expelled, and that problem continues to this day. So this triggered a legacy of insurgencies, and eventually when World War II was going, the remaining Indians who were there, 600,000 of them fled Burma. More importantly, this became quoted by Jinnah and as a basis, a precedent for the separation of Pakistan from India. And of course, that dreaded specter of political assassination from one's own continued to haunt the subcontinent. Gandhiji was assassinated in January 1948, and Liaquat Ali Khan, the first Prime Minister of Pakistan, was also assassinated in 1951. So it was something, the afterlife of which we face the consequences of perhaps even to this day. So the second partition was much less contentious. This is between on the western side, Aden and the Arab Peninsula from India. This, whereas Burma had been managed by the Bengal presidency, this one was managed by the Bombay presidency. There was, to all accounts, a vibrant exchange of kind of people, of trade, of culture, of interaction. The author, Sam Dalrymple, mentions that Indian words like dhobi and chokidar, bearer were very commonly used in the Arabian Peninsula. There was cuisine which was influenced by the Arabian Peninsula. Apparently, the British used to send some political prisoners to Aden, to jails in Aden. People like Dhirubhai Ambani, for example, he spent 10 years in Aden. But what happened was also, instead of the flowing robes that Arabian men particularly wore, in this part of this peninsula, apparently the sherwani, pajama kind of thing, which was common among Muslims in India, was often the garb. So there was a lot of exchange. Then, of course, the British decided, of course, the Arabs and the Indians were very different. And then on the part of the peninsula, there were some complaints that the bureaucracy in the Bombay presidency took ages to respond to any issue or any problem. So, of course, in 1937, then that separation also took place. But the Indian rupee continued to be the currency till 1959. In fact, some of the states got their independence, eventual independence, much later, but till 1959 it was the currency. Now, I've got on the top left-hand corner a picture of Sultan Said bin Taimur. He and his brother apparently studied in Mayo College, and they were much more familiar with Urdu than they were with Arabic. Now, Sultan Said's son on the right hand side, bottom, Sultan Qaboos, studied in a private institution in Pune. And he was taught by Shankar Dayal Sharma, who went on to become the 9th president of India. So you see, there was a lot of interaction then. I was not aware of all this, and that was very interesting learning for me. So, and Gandhiji, when he went for the second roundtable conference, he stopped at Aden, which of course was a very busy and major port. And he was given permission by the British to disembark. So, as Dalrymple mentions, an Arab journalist who was a real kind of disciple of Gandhi, Muhammad Lukman, he went to visit him, took him to the meeting where there were not just the Indian diaspora who Gandhi addressed, but there were many Arab local people. And Gandhiji supposedly mentioned that, you know, this fight is not just for India's independence. All people who are under the domination of a foreign power should have a right to their own country. Of course, on the way back, he was not given permission by the British to disembark at Aden. So that is the second one, the second partition which took place. The third one, which is, of course, the most problematic of them all, the partition of India and Pakistan. We know so much about it, so I will just focus on the major issues. Here, of course, quickly a meeting which Mountbatten had called. You have on our right Jinnah, and then there is Liaquat Ali Khan and one of the leaders of the NWFP. And on the left, there's Nehru, there's Patel, there's Rajaji, and there is Baldev Singh. And Nehru looking so despondent, not surprising, because the last thing that the Congress had wanted was the partition of India. So how did this happen? Of course, there are many things, but there is no doubt at all that the British were the main power behind the division of Hindus and Muslims, though later on they said, oh, we would have liked to have left a unified India. And this deliberate policy of creating difference between Hindus and Muslims started after the 1857 First War of Independence, when they were shocked and horrified at the powerful forces of what united Hindus and Muslims could do. So after that, they set about making sure that the two communities were completely divided. So one of the things that was done is in the first census in 1881, for the first time, the British insisted that people had to fill in their religion. And when the census results were available, they made sure that the Muslims particularly were aware of which are the places in India they had a dominant presence and in which they had marginal presence. Hindus were, of course, always in the majority. Then the partition of Bengal in 1905 was the brainchild of Curzon, was a major attempt to divide the Hindus and Muslims in Bengal, where they had a lot of commonalities, including common language. Hindus were very upset by this. Congress was horrified because there was the first step to them of trying to bring in a division among the people of India. The Muslims were, and this was explained to them by the British, the Muslims were happy with this because they felt that they were neglected and they would be able to, their needs would be addressed. This is the partition. The Bengal presidency, and at that time it became a province. Bihar, Orissa, and the western part of Bengal was called Bengal, and eastern part of Bengal and Assam was called Eastern Bengal and Assam. And to add insult to injury, the Minto-Morley reforms of 1909, where and this of course was a long-standing Muslim demand, separate electorates were set up for Hindus and Muslims. The complete basis for separation of the two communities was being formalized. Then of course, gives rise to the two nations theory. Here you have the very well-respected Muslim scholar and intellectual, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, who started Aligarh Muslim University. He was the first to pronounce in a meeting in Benares in 1876 that he could not conceive of Hindus and Muslims being able to live together in one nation. And then, of course, the partition of Bengal, which I've already talked about. But then the setting up of the Muslim League, which was actively encouraged and abetted by the British. And this was done in 1906 in Dhaka. Now, of course, the Aga Khan the third, incidentally, was the one who financed the founding of the Muslim League. He later on had to bankroll Pakistan as well. Pakistan was almost bankrupt when the nation started. So this was started, the Muslim League. Then in 1925, Justice Abdul Rahim in Aligarh again declares that Hindus and Muslims cannot live together as a nation. Alana Iqbal of Sare Jahan Se Acha fame, he also pronounced that at least in those areas in which Muslims were in the majority, which is northwestern India, they should form a Muslim nation, but within the Indian nation. That was his conception. And this is Rahmat Ali Chaudhry who brought in the term Pakistan, but it was not taken very seriously then. And how can one forget Jinnah? So Jinnah's transformation from a secular individual who upheld Hindu-Muslim unity to the person who was primarily responsible for spearheading the formation of Pakistan. That's a journey that is very interesting. In his youth, Jinnah was used to drink. He was a heavy smoker. He was a barrister, had a flourishing legal practice. He used to eat pork. He was a Shia Muslim, and among the Shias, he was an Ismaili. He was a particularly small community. Apparently, much later in life, he converted to Sunni Islam. So that transformation from there, he joined the Congress in 1906. He was emerging as one of the most leading congressmen. Jinnah was a man, a sensitive person, egotistical. Rivalries were things which made a difference to him. His first rivalry was with Gandhi, when Gandhiji came back. And the Congress turned towards Gandhiji as a leader. He joined the Muslim League in 1913, but even then his avowed objective was to bring Hindus and Muslims together. Now, he left the Congress in 1920. In his perception, Gandhiji's prominence in the Congress resulted in Hindu religious orientation coming to the party, which to him was unacceptable. Later on, at that time, Nehru was not around. Later on, his main rivalry was with Nehru. And in between, he had a tragic personal life. His first wife died very early. At the age of 42, he loses his head and falls in love and gets married with this 18-year-old Parsi girl, Ratanbai Petit. Her father was appalled. They eloped. The marriage was doomed from the beginning. They were two different, in terms of their personality, their backgrounds, everything. The marriage failed very soon, and then his wife, Rati Jinnah, committed suicide 10 years after they had got married. Jinnah was devastated. It apparently he changed after that. He became very rigid, intolerant, pessimistic. He changed his life. So, and this is Jinnah as Qaid-e-Azam. In 1940, Jinnah officially declared in the Lahore session of the Muslim League that they cannot be one nation. They have to be India and Pakistan separately. So on the Hindu side, the Hindu Mahasabha was formed in 1915 mainly as a reaction to the Muslim League. And in 1937, Savarkar declared in the Ahmedabad session that Hindus and Muslims were two antagonistic communities, could never be in one nation. And strangely enough, this is Ambedkar, which I wasn't aware about. He wrote this book on Pakistan and partition. And in the early 40s, he declared that if Muslims really wanted their own nation, they should be allowed to have it. But of course, he suggested very radical move that there should be complete exchange of populations, all Muslims should go to Pakistan and all Hindus should come to India. So there it is. And so then we went, inevitably, I'm coming straight to 1947. In February 47, Attlee announces that by June 1948, the British will withdraw. Mountbatten comes here in March 47. On June 3rd, it is announced that there will be partition of Punjab and Bengal, only we don't know what it's going to look like. And then the very next day, Mountbatten gives his bombshell that independence would be on 15th of August 1947. Why did he choose that date? Apparently, it was the anniversary of the defeat of the Japanese in the Second World War, called VJ Day, the victory over Japan. This single decision possibly caused the worst possible recorded bloodshed, carnage, mayhem in history. And according to Sam Dalrymple, I think there was just 77 days when he made that announcement to when independence was to be held. And then July, Cyril Radcliffe is called to draw the borders of the country. Radcliffe is a bachelor. I beg your pardon. He is a barrister. My apologies. He's a barrister who has never been east of Paris. He is presented with some maps, some of them outdated, and told to draw this line. He doesn't know anything about the nation. He gets 5 weeks to do this. I've put a quotation on top, which is from a poem written by W.H. Auden on India's partition. He talks about 7 weeks. It was 5 weeks, actually. But in 7 weeks, it was done. The frontiers decided, a continent, for better or worse, divided. So Radcliffe finishes his work on the 12th of August. Now, he's plagued by Delhi belly almost throughout his stay. And when he finishes, he literally flees the country. He burns all his papers, so nobody can know on what basis he did the partition. He was given some guidelines. The religious majority was to be kept in mind in doing the partition. Also, any major sort of natural boundaries and protecting water resources. So, and he refused his fee. He was apparently quite conflicted by the time he finished this task, and besides, he felt that there would be many people would be wanting to assassinate him. He left straight away. So here is August 12th, he leaves. Then now August 14th and 15th, Pakistan and India, we have our independence. We don't know yet what the boundary will be. Mountbatten had decided that he would only announce it on August 17th. I guess he wanted us to have the pleasure of our Independence Days, unalloyed by what would happen when the partition details were announced. And of course, we know what happened after that. January 26th, we become a sovereign democratic republic, and we're no longer a dominion. It takes Pakistan 7 years to become a democratic republic. 7 years, right from the beginning. You can see the differences that are emerging between India and Pakistan. And but that was just for 2.5 years, because after that, martial law was declared. Ayub Khan takes over, and by then they had changed 7 prime ministers in Pakistan. So thus came into existence Pakistan, described many years later as a fantastic bird, with 2 wings without a body, sundered by the mass of its greatest foe, joined by nothing but God. And who else could say this but Salman Rushdie, this description? So what are the award anomalies? Some of these are very interesting. The Boundary Commission awards Pakistan. This was not a less developed part of India. They had very few major cities. Other than Lahore and Karachi, there was no other major city. And there was no currency mint. And they were initially, Pakistan was operating out of shipping containers, apparently. India was extremely upset by the award of Lahore to Pakistan, though it had a Muslim majority. 80% of the business there was run by Hindus and Sikhs. And, it had been the traditional seat of power of the Sikh empire. Well, it went to Pakistan, and Pakistan was very upset by the award of Gurdaspur and Firozpur, which were marginally Muslim dominant to India. Ostensible reason is that Gurdaspur had a control over the water resources for Amritsar, and Firozpur for Bikaner. I say ostensibly because incidentally, this ensured a vital road link, transport link to Jammu and Kashmir. And it is believed that Nehru prevailed on Mountbatten to ensure that these awards came to India. Then on the eastern border, similarly, all the jute plantations were in Bangladesh, which is now Bangladesh. The mills were in Bengal. It caused havoc to the economies of both Bengals. Then I'll go straight to Chittagong Hill Tracts, which was primarily Buddhist, only 2% Muslim, was given to East Bengal because they had no port otherwise. And this caused further upset to the Nagas and the Mizos because this was the port which was nearest to them, from which they used to do all their trading. And Murshidabad, which was Muslim majority, given to Bengal, to India because of the Ganges link. So that was the story of the partition of India, Pakistan, which is not over by any means, because there were the princely states which were left. And I've shown this map so you can see the rest is in white. These are all the colored ones, are all the princely states. The red ones are the ones which were 5 of them, which got 21 gun salutes. They accounted for 40% of the Indian Empire in terms of land covered, 600 square miles. They accounted for 23% of the population. Their monarchs used to be more, so loyal to the crown. And now, as it so happens that 81% of the India's western borders were determined by 7 of these princely states, and that made Ratcliffe's task, you can see, easier. And on the eastern side, 36%, 10 princely states accounted for 36% of the border. So by Independence Day, already 136 states have joined. Eventually, a total of 562 would, this figure of number of princely states is kind of a little fluid because depends on whether you count the vassals or not. But so altogether, it's considered there were 565. And these were the phases in which it was done. I won't go through them except to say that Travancore, Jodhpur, Jaisalmer had very interesting histories. If we have time, we can discuss this later. So also J&K we know about, but also Junagadh. And Hyderabad, of course, was one of the last. It was the last. Then these are the princely states which went to Pakistan, Bahawalpur and Khairpur, Bahawalpur in Punjab and Khairpur in Sindh, and the entire Khanate of Kalat, which is Baluchistan. They were dead against joining Pakistan. They wanted to be independent. They had 2 houses of parliament already. They never agreed to accede to Pakistan. Apparently, and then eventually militarily it was taken over. And it is an open wound for Pakistan till today. That brings us to the last partition, which is that of Bangladesh. We are all aware of this. I just want to point out a couple of things. First is that even at the time when East and West Pakistan was being formed, East Pakistan was much larger in terms of population, 43 million compared with 34 million in West Pakistan. Yet a rare misstep by Jinnah at that time. He goes to Dhaka and he says that Urdu has to be the language in Pakistan. And that caused chaos because if there's one thing Bengalis are absolutely passionate about, it's their language. And there were language riots straight away. The dissension started between East and West. And in 1952, the language riots, several people died, and that's the origin of International Language Day. And the first, of course, eventually in 1954, it was accepted that Bengali would also be a language. And then their first, now look at the difference again between India and Pakistan. Our first general election was held in 1952. It started in October 1951, finished in, I think, March or February 1952, and we held elections every 5 years on the dot, except during emergency where it was postponed by 1 year, if you remember, and then Indira Gandhi decided to hold the elections. In Pakistan, the first direct national general elections were held only in 1970. And the Awami League of East Pakistan won hands down. They had absolute majority. And Bhutto's party was the second highest, refused to accept that, East Pakistan would rule, the Bengalis would rule Pakistan, that Mujibur Rahman would be the, prime minister. And at that time, Yahya Khan there was still martial law. Yahya Khan was in charge. He backed Bhutto, and that was it started the problem, which then resulted in the separation of Bangladesh. So that completes the presentation. So it's open for discussion for any comments or observations.
Okay. There'll be, if you want to ask question or make a comment, raise your hand, and I will keep on
Let me take
asking you to
the
do it,
screen.
because it's going to be difficult. There may be a lot of comments that will be there, and
Stop share.
in fact, as you said,
Yes.
I think that not emergency, forget the emergency. This basic, what happened in 1947 was meant to destroy India completely. That's what I felt. They wanted to make India into small countries and rule over them accordingly. That's what British wanted, and that's how they worked. Okay, guys. Anyone wanting to talk?
Yeah,
Who
sure.
put your hand up, please.
Yeah, Vasudha, I think, wants to
Yeah,
say
Vasudha?
something.
Vasu. Right. I remembered that in the room of Mohan Bhagwat, there is a map of India which he calls Akhand Bharat.
Mhm.
That is the mission of RSS.
Yes.
Ultimately, join all these parts which were severed. Remembered that. Okay, I mean, we may have problems with RSS, but if you wish to have a mission for which you are working, it's not a bad one.
But what
That
do you
was
mean?
the
What is now Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka also, and Burma
Sri
also, all should
Lanka
be
was
India.
never a part of India, was it?
No,
Burma,
it was not. It was
Bangladesh.
not.
No, but it was governed from Delhi also.
No, not
Hmm.
quite. You see, Sri Lanka was a separate case because actually it was taken over by the British Crown, not by the East India Company.
Okay.
They conquered it from the Dutch. For a little while, Madras presidency was asked to
Look,
administer Sri Lanka, but it didn't work. So it has always been separate.
okay. But I had
Yeah.
the impression that
Huh.
from Madras, it was working from there. That's where they were
There was for a short period, yes, but it
for
didn't work
quite
out.
some
So
time.
then,
Quite some time it was there. And this I learned from somewhere in Sri Lanka only, that it was so. And in the 1950 or something like that, that separation took place.
No, no, no,
Runa, I
no,
think
no. No,
Runa has it.
has always been very independent.
Okay.
All right. I think Runa has something to say.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Vasu. Yeah.
So I want to say one thing. This we see not just in India and all that, everywhere in the world. This desire to bring back the past, it's just not possible, in my view. History happens, things change, borders change, nationalities, political borders, everything change. But then, decades after the event has happened, you want to go back. So either Akhand Bharat or Israel or Greater UAE, I don't know what the hell. So all of that is absolutely pointless. You have to go by the current realities because people have changed in between. You know, they have progressed in a particular way. So you want to take a decision today, it has to be done based on current realities. Otherwise, I mean, okay, yes, once upon a time you had Bharat Varsha and you had Akhand Bharat, and somebody thought Burma was not part of Akhand Bharat. I mean, these are all opinions. In fact, in the very, very old days, there were no strict political borders at all. The borders were always based on ethnicity, not on politics. Political borders happened only in the last 200 years, really speaking. So, I mean, worldwide. So, this whole business of, let's go back to what was a very golden age and all that is very unrealistic, is what I think.
Well, I don't know. Unrealistic.
Who's next?
I think Virginia wants to say something.
No, someone else was speaking just now.
Oh, Vasu also.
Vasu.
Yeah, hi. I have a couple of comments.
Yeah.
I don't want to make a political comment, but the concept of Akhand Bharat is good or bad, I don't know. But the real issue is Would so many countries, ethnicity people would have lived together forever? I doubt it.
No,
As a matter of fact, even when even when we had the great regimes of India, which tried to conquer all of the subcontinent,
Correct.
I don't think where I come from, Tamil Nadu or Kerala was ever a part of that great map till British came.
Correct. I agree.
Uh, and even now, you have that is reflecting in our politics. Anyway, another comment was on the partition number 2. It's just a story I heard. All the Arab countries were like dollar today. In those days, in this part of the world, rupee was the currency, like she said.
right.
And all the Arab countries were actually, even after India became independent, were using Indian currency. When Morarji Desai became prime minister, there was a lot of smuggling between those countries in India. So Morarji Desai introduced what is called a Middle East rupee or Arab rupee, which they were ready to accept with the color of the currency was changed from green to red. And that's not acceptable to them from a religious perspective. And so they said, sorry, we can't use this new currency.
I had no idea about this. Okay.
I mean, it really happened, I think.
Yeah.
And it used to happen that they used to call a rupee, whatever was their regular currency. Mohini was very confused when she went to Dubai.
You bet.
Rupee. How much it cost? Only 10 rupees.
I was trying to buy a sari for my maid. And the guy in the shop said, बहुत सस्ता है, केवल 30 रुपया. I said, what? How can a sari, this lovely sari, be 30 rupees?
My dear, one small comment on what Satish said. Sri Lanka was governed by Madras Presidency only for a short period of
Very
5
short
years,
period of time.
1793 to 1798, way
That's it.
before we had anything to do with this whole British Empire.
1798, yeah, up to that.
Yeah,
for a
very
years.
short
was
period of
part
time.
of
It didn't
the-
work, and then the British took it over on their own.
But
I think Virginia has a question. Is it, or there's a hand up?
Virginia, Ginny,
No? Okay.
anyone else? Come. I expected lots of questioning coming out here.
Also,
I have
there's one. Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have one question.
Who's this?
Kaveri, does the book
Yes,
anywhere?
Ram.
Who's it?
Ram here.
Ram.
VS for you, Satish.
Uh-huh.
So, does the book anywhere speculate on what could have been the current day situation if one or the other of these partitions had not happened or had happened differently?
He does mention in, for example, he says, had the third, the one between the second partition between West Asia and India, in jest, he mentions, had it not happened, because at that stage no one knew that they were going to be oil wealth nations. India's fortunes may have been very different had they still been part of India. But no. He does not in this book. He describes all the things that happened and what caused these major disruptions between the countries and the communities. He does talk about, well, apparently Mountbatten said, had I known, Jinnah's ill health, the seriousness of his ill health was very carefully concealed secret. And Mountbatten is supposed to have said, had I known that he would pass away in so early, I might have delayed partition. But that was, of course, in jest, I would guess, and too much water had flown under the bridge already. No, he doesn't. He does mention the factors which led to these schisms and disruptions. But that could it have been different? That's one of the, I think, the stories that we may want to dwell on, but they are futile.
Yeah, we cannot, obviously.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
Same.
And we have difficulty in there's now in the current environment there is such unhealthy, and I'm saying this aloud, the attitude towards Muslims. So unfortunate. How would we have managed a nation where he had such large numbers together? Impossible. It would have been ungovernable.
yeah,
So,
but then this country has also carried on with Muslims for
long
long
time.
period of time before the British
It's a very
came.
syncretic
Before
culture.
1857, as you rightly say.
Yeah.
yeah, but Ram, it was a different relationship because we were under the subjugation of Muslims at that time.
But you were the majority, Kaveri. At that time, the number of actual Muslims was far, far less than even now. So, I mean, we were
No, even now we are, Runa, we are now so much in the majority. I can't believe
I
this
agree with
kind
you.
of a panic about,
Panic about
what's
Hindu
happening.
khatre mein hai. I
Numbered.
know.
We are so much in the majority and we have
Yeah.
such a problem.
And if 700 years of Islamic rule could not convert all of us, I don't see what we have to be so
Absolutely.
thinking about.
Absolutely. If we can't live in peace with those who are our own countrymen, and who have as much right to our country as they are our countrymen. We can't deal with them right now. And we would, invite the entire Pakistan, Bangladesh thing in our fold. We would never have managed.
No, now see, too much water has passed.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't bring back. And as somebody said, na, even in the old days, it was not a hegemonic whole. It was not centrally ruled like we are used to today. The kind of government was even the Mughal rule was very loose. They slowly built up laws which were accepted by people because they found it okay. But otherwise, it was basically a tributary based. You paid tribute to the Mughal emperor and he kept general peace. That was the agreement. Otherwise, within the states, within the Hindu Rajas, whatever, they could pretty much do what they wanted. And that is what the British perpetuated, by the way. They just wanted a sense of loyalty. You won't keep uprising against us and let us do our business. That was the deal. It was very loose. It's today's democracies, today's political systems are much tighter and more rigid. They are very often centrally controlled. There are lots of constitutions, laws, and rules. In those days, there was nothing written. So
True.
think
It
about
is a fact that until the British.
Yes, speak a little loudly.
Yeah.
Am I more audible now?
Come close.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying, until the British came in, and this is post the company rule, we probably had very little by way of state control. You only, as Runa rightly said, it was tribute based. You had nothing much to expect from the government by way of public goods or be it education or communication or health, whatever.
depended on the king what he did.
None of these, it was all the largest provided by the king. If he was good, if he was kind-hearted,
Exactly.
otherwise you didn't get anything, and you had a tyrant. Bad luck. Fair enough, but that is
which most of them were not. Most of them were neither large-hearted or kind.
Who's it? Who's that?
Vasu.
Vasu, yeah. There is someone else.
Yes, it was very exploitative.
Who's a Zoom user?
I don't think so. Nothing was as exploited.
Gautam
as
has
the
I
British.
ask a question.
Who?
Vasudha Gautam put up his hand before her,
Yeah.
and you're asking, there's someone in glasses and a sort of maroon shirt, Zoom user. Can you just tell us who you are? I think the first time you've come to the book club.
The first person in the red t-shirt.
Is that Krishnan? Hi.
Krishnan, come on.
This guy.
I am listening quietly.
Oh,
no, but let's hear.
Unusual for Krishnan to be not talking at all. That's what I asked.
Oh, so
Couldn't
everyone
have been.
knows him except me? I don't know him.
He's from,
Another of your IIM guys? Or
yes, he's
Yes.
our batchmate.
There are only 2 people or 3 people there who know me.
what? Okay.
Vasu, Ram, Satish, and I. Okay.
Okay, that's all we are saying.
Please carry on, ladies. Please
Yes,
carry on.
Gautam
Yeah,
wanted to
Gautam.
say
Yeah.
something. Would you like to?
Gautam,
You
you
need to
trying to say?
unmute. You need to
Gautam, you're
unmute.
mute now.
I don't understand why the author regards the princely states merger and assimilation as partition.
Yeah, okay. So he describes it in this fashion. It was partition from the British Empire because they were answerable to the crown. So they were under the British Empire. So that was their disruption. And he terms it as a partition. So that's how he explains that he used the term partition.
Yeah, but anyway, I think it's much of a convenience for title of the book.
Possibly, yes, I agree with you that it sort of reads well. Yeah, it reads well in that narrative. It reads well as the fourth partition.
Yeah.
But of course, the princely states were, on the Jodhpur, Jaisalmer were openly negotiating with Pakistan because Jinnah had given them a blank check for whatever they wanted because he wanted a larger Pakistan. And eventually what happened was at that time, the Jodhpur king was 24-year-old, I think, Hanwant Singh of Zubeda fame. He was in any case, sort of erratic character. And his ADC finally says, why don't you just talk once to the Rajmata? Because he was getting ready to sign. So he talks to his mother and the mother puts her foot down and says, no way are you going to join Pakistan. We are going to be with India. So that's how Jodhpur remains with India. As soon as Jodhpur agrees to stay with India, Jaisalmer, which has even a younger Maharaja, falls in line. And then Kutch sounds assigned soon after that. And of course, VP Menon has an interesting story, apparently much exaggerated, that the Jodhpur Maharaja, having signed the accession to India, then whips out a pistol, holds it to VP Menon's head and says, you are the one who's responsible for my signing on to India. And Menon makes much of it, but eventually it was a toy pistol. It was a lighter or something like that. So there are stories about all of them. But this was very important. They were active. Even Kuch Bihar was talked to Bengal.
Kashmir.
Kashmir is well known.
Kashmir, I mean, that fellow, he should have joined from day one. It would have solved.
Yeah. Kashmir is well known, Runa. Kuch Bihar was in talks with East Bengal. Many of the Khasi states wrote officially to Pakistan saying that we would like to join East Bengal. And because Pakistan was so disorganized, they got no response and then they joined India.
Then you had this Junagadh, very interesting Junagadh. If you go there,
yes,
the king went off. The king said, I want to be in Pakistan. Finally, when Sardar Patel and all, you see, because the population is Hindu, I think.
80%. 80% was Hindu. He wanted Zulfikar Ali Bhutto's father, Shah Nawaz Bhutto, was his prime minister, who was one who put all these ideas into his head. The Nawab was more fond of his 800 dogs than he was of any of his people, but he was also a conservationist, and therefore the Gir forest is there today. He controlled all the killing of lions. So there's always good and bad.
The marriage of dogs also is well known.
When it finally happened, the king went.
Yes, because the people were very upset. They wanted to join India, and India had put in a blockade. So there was no food coming in. Their supplies were bad. And in any case, the populace wanted to join India. So he just fled and apparently left one wife behind and a child so that he could take all his dogs. But these are just stories. And then the Patel came in and it was given to India. And there was a plebiscite held. That was not the only place where a plebiscite held. There was a plebiscite held in Sylhet as well. So, and then it came to...
Azra, you're next.
I was trying to make a second point.
Yeah, sorry.
Azra, you need to unmute.
Gautam wants to speak again.
Gautam, speak first, and then Azra will come in.
Aruna also had something to say. Aruna, because I saw you talking, but you need to unmute. We can't hear you.
Let's hear from
Gautam first.
Gautam, waiting for you.
The second point I was trying to make.
Little louder, please.
The second point I was trying to make was I don't understand Burma as being part of any kind of Akhand
Gautam,
Bharat.
speak a little louder. Come closer to
Prior
the
to
mic.
the British taking over India, was Burma ever part of any Indian kingdom? I do not think so. It was simply ruled by the British out of India. Prior to the British, I do not think Burma was ever considered as any part of an Indian rule. Therefore, to say that Burma was partitioned, I do not understand that either.
From the British Indian Empire. Yeah, it was
Yes,
never part of
exactly.
India, but from the
Exactly.
British Indian Empire. That was his
Exactly.
frame of reference.
Exactly. So the point of
Even
saying
Middle East was from that frame of reference.
yeah,
British
so but
Indian.
so it's not a partition of India. It's
No,
not
it's
a
a partition of the British Indian Empire. He
yeah.
never
So
talks
yeah,
about
so
his partition of
the
India. No.
understanding is misleading. It's a partition of
No,
British
no.
India,
No,
not of
Gautam, when he wrote the book, he made it very clear he was talking about the partition of the British Indian Empire, not of India. And in fact, the partition of India is only the third partition.
right. Then
He's
I
talking about the empire disintegrating. That's what he was
so
talking
the
about.
title of the book is misleading.
Yeah, possibly. But his frame of reference was the British Indian
Fair
Empire.
enough.
Yeah, also Gautam, the term India at that point was very loose. What
Yes.
was
Yes.
India then or before that?
Well,
India was
the
India
Bengal
only after
you're right.
1947.
You're right. The Bengal presidency was responsible all the way from the Khyber Pass, from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa to Penang at one stage.
It is
The
a
British Indian Empire was up to
administration problem.
Penang.
Yeah.
And at this time in 1920s, it was Burma, but it went to Singapore all the way to Penang.
Yeah. And
Think of
It's an
it.
administrative issue.
If India had been built up from the east to the west that way, it would have been larger than the United States. Really, it would have been a much wider one. But the British had ruled it, had made it pieces of it completely, so it wasn't going. So, Azra is quiet now.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
no, I would speak, but I think Gautam has to finish, right?
Gautam, have you finished?
no, I was just going to say that the Sanjay is going to counter me on each and every point. So if he's given the opportunity, he'll demolish me.
I couldn't catch that. I couldn't hear what you just said. Good.
Sanjay, you were keeping quiet all this while. Shall I let Azra come in now, and then you can take a deep breath when you're talking to Gautam. You take a deep breath and speak continuously.
No. Please let Azra go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to start out by complimenting Kaveri. I think she did a superb presentation. You probably are a great historian, really, because you have all the facts on your fingertips. And then I would totally agree with what Runa and Vasu had to say. You really cannot go back to the old boundaries. It's impossible. And a case in point was obviously today's situation of the Palestinian state, so-called Palestinian state. And I personally think Akhand Bharat would create a lot of bloodshed, but that's that is my impression. Then I had a question. Since Kaveri is so well versed, I had heard that Jinnah's grandfather was a so-called Hindu. So how did he become a Muslim?
I don't know about this, Azra, I must say. I am not aware that Jinnah is descended
Grandfather.
from...
Yeah,
I had no
apparently
idea about that.
they originated from Saurashtra, and it was a fishing family.
Yes.
And when they ate fish, the tribe excommunicated them.
Oh, I had no idea about this.
I would love to hear on that because I think it's a fact. And then he becomes so radical. I don't know what led him. Was that kind of a competition for not becoming a prime minister? Because, he was hardly a Muslim. As you mentioned, he drank, he smoked, he ate pork. He was a European, literally, right? In the sense the way he dressed.
You're right, Azra. You're very right. It was just antagonistic that he had till Gandhi came on the scene. He was the big
One of
man.
the prime leaders. Yeah.
He was one of the prime.
Yes, of the Congress.
Actually, Azra, two things. One is Gemini confirms what he said. His grandfather was Premji Bhai Thakar.
Okay.
He was a Hindu.
Yes.
And second question is, in The Freedom at Midnight, which most of you probably have read,
Yes.
he has discussed how if he had been given the prime ministership, Jinnah would not
Yes.
have won Pakistan.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And an interesting fact aside from that
Actually,
book is also that when he and his doctor knew he was dying,
Uh-huh.
they didn't disclose it to public.
yes,
Right.
he did
Right.
not.
If they
Right.
had waited, not just said, let's not have partition, let's wait. If they had waited, he would have died.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
but no
Right.
one knew, right?
Not that it
Yes.
helps. I'm
No.
not saying
Okay.
You know
it
that
does.
The,
you're
That's a
right,
fact.
but
the
the
British.
counterfactuals
1 minute.
of history. Vasu, you know, there are many things. This book is too vast to cover. The cabinet mission plan, where there was almost a case of a United States of India, somewhat like the United Kingdom, Scotland, Wales, Ireland kind of thing. But there were too many differences between what Jinnah wanted and what was possible. Gandhi and Nehru. The cabinet mission plan was one last-ditch attempt by
Right.
Lord Wavell, who was quite neutral, unlike Linlithgow. So,
Yeah.
but that didn't work.
And the last comment, sorry, go ahead, finish.
No.
Go ahead,
Mhm.
Azra. Go
The
ahead.
last comment I wanted to make was about 10 years ago, I visited Oman and I was amazed at the similarities. You know, I
That's so
come from this.
interesting.
Yeah, I come from the state of Hyderabad and we use something called the angethi, where you burn the coal. And either, even the fragrances that we use there, the oud, right? The way they were so common. And I said, how come they're just like Indians, And now that explains, right?
Yeah.
That their rulers studied in India and
You know,
they
Azra,
spoke. Yeah.
That's so interesting because at one stage, the Nizam of Hyderabad was regarded as a spiritual leader of the Muslim world in this part of the thing, particularly after the Ottoman Empire apparently collapsed. And his two of his sons were married to the
Turkish
Caliph.
princesses.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was like a spiritual. And the origin of Islam, which was really from foreign lands, there was a kind of their reach was beyond the borders of India. And Hyderabad was,
coming back to the Nizam,
yeah.
He was not a cruel ruler. He was very popular with the Muslims and Hindus. And even the Hindus speak like the Muslims, there's a special dialect of Hyderabad. It is so endearing. I mean, there were hospitals built, there were universities built. And when he died, I think the Indian government by that time gave several days of, national mourning. And the processions were full of Hindus and Muslims.
My cousin stayed in Hyderabad for quite a number of years. You should hear her speak Hindi in the.
Oh yeah,
it is
the
a different
Hyderabadi dialect.
Yeah.
So Azra, I understand that in what happened in Hyderabad, yes, he was quite a benevolent ruler. But what happened was also there was a big communist movement in the Telangana part. It was a very strong communist movement. And then the Razakars came into the picture, and that caused a lot of
that caused problems.
Yeah, a lot of problems.
I remember my father ordering firing on the Razakars because they went out of control. And they were attacking the Hindu villages, turning them on, setting fires. So my father was a collector and he ordered open firing on the Razakars, although they were Muslims. So there's a lot of interesting history there,
Plenty. And people like my family, Runa's family, all those who are, government servants, etc., they are aware of these things. My uncle was the chief police person in Hyderabad. And my cousin speaks that Hyderabadi English, Hindi all the time. And what the life was then, she used to tell us before. You ask her and she will talk. I wish she had come.
Okay, can I just
Hyderabad case was referred to the UN, not just Kashmir. Hyderabad, they appealed to, because it was an independent country as far as they were concerned.
Yeah.
So they went to the UN. for a resolution to complain about that they were, being coerced to join India. That also happened.
That I didn't know, that they went to the UN.
Yeah,
I know
they
they
went to
did
the
go
UN.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to be independent.
Yeah,
And then
sometimes
he
you
said,
wonder. You're right. You
Yeah,
just wonder how did this country get, united enough not to go the way of Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal.
Isn't it obvious?
Look around you.
It's Patel and
I know.
Nehru.
I know that Runa had her hand up. But since the other conversation was going on, she kind of went away. Runa, if you come back.
Mo, but then
And
other people like Aruna Jethwani,
one second.
Arjan,
Aruna,
Mohan
no,
Madhiva.
Aruna was actually talking, I think not realizing that she was muted. Okay. So Aruna, would you like to unmute and say your bit? Aruna.
Aruna.
And until they come, I will have my moment.
Prabhakar Khole.
Yeah. And by the way, Sanjay, another very intelligent reader, I'm sure he will, have something to say.
Makhan laga rahi hai, dekho,
Now,
makhan laga rahi hai.
Kaveri, what I want to say is, your presentation was fabulous.
Superb.
In the sense that it was so to the point, so concise, so deep, and clearly from the conversation ensuing, we could see how you are sort of immersed in that period of history and how well you know it. I just wondered, has all the information come from this one book? Or do you attribute it to other reading? Which,
no, I have gone beyond the book because, he starts his book in the 1920s. And but I have gone beyond the book. Sayyid Ahmad Khan, the census, because there's a history to why by the time you started there, the Hindu-Muslim disunity has commenced.
All right.
Okay,
Runa is here
there are
now.
a couple of people I would like to read out too.
Runa, you had your hand up.
But I mean, it's rehashing old ground, so it's okay. Plus, I have to go. Anyway,
Okay.
thanks a lot, Kaveri. It was a very good presentation. So
excellent.
As Mohan Madhiman
After a long time, Runa.
Mohan, here he is.
Yeah, Mohan.
Hi.
I haven't heard a comment from you.
Oh, hi, Mohan.
Yeah, very nice, Kaveri. Enjoyed it. I was wondering what sparked your interest in this particular book and this issue.
Mohan, I have always been interested in, non-fiction. Unfortunately, that's a big weakness. I don't read fiction. And here's my copy of the book. If you can see it, I've done all this kind of, because it's a book which has so much in it. And I've done all these post stickies for the various parts of it.
And this is this is the book I'm more interested in.
Okay. So I found this extremely interesting. In India's recent history and where we are today, how we got there is something which I've been interested in for a long time. So when this book came on the market, my son and daughter-in-law gave it to me. I was very happy to get it. So
how many pages does it have?
It has. It of course has extensive notes, but this has about 430 pages, I think. 430 pages.
Thank you.
Mo, let's get other
writer. Sometimes he gets gossipy. His style is very interesting, but there is a lot of archival research he has done. There's no doubt about that.
Thank you.
Ginny, Wispy, people.
Has anybody written an alternate history of India?
No, I haven't. But this is the one that I have read.
Many other things there are alternate histories, but nobody has written some alternate history of India.
Yeah.
I'm
working at alternate stories of history, not history, alternate
of literature,
drama, etc. So if a drama says this, but what if you can have that?
Yes,
I'm writing that.
So Sanjay, do you have anything to add?
Sanjay, Virginie,
Do you have anything
Yeah,
to add?
Okay.
I think we need to be grateful to
I gotta go.
Kaveri.
See you guys. I
Go
gotta
ahead.
go. Excellent
Oh,
presentation, Kaveri.
Okay,
Oh, by
Vasu,
the way,
so
bye.
Oh,
Sanjay
Vasu,
basically
Vasu.
wants
Yeah.
to appreciate your presentation, Kaveri, as do
Yes,
I.
absolutely. I think.
I mean, everyone is going to agree when we
Yeah,
say,
absolutely.
I so
Absolutely. I
sort
think
of
excellent.
absorbed the whole thing. You have read beyond the book. I love the way you were able to answer with such alacrity. You know, that's because you know so much.
Mo-
And people like Wispy, would you like to say anything? I'm just asking. I mean, if you don't want to, that's okay. Wispy, would you like to say anything?
Can I be heard?
Yes,
Yes.
Viti, you can be.
Well, first of all, Kaveri, of course, did a brilliant job. I'm afraid I haven't read the book, so it was an eye opener. I just wanted to, it's something really just personal. My father, for years, was a trustee of the Nizams. So we used to hear a lot of stories every month when he went for his meetings about the idiosyncrasies of the then Nizam. So I just felt, sort of connected today when I heard Kaveri. And also that VP Menon was a very close friend of my father's. He used to come to I grew up in Delhi, so he used to come to our house in Delhi, and he was always Menon uncle. So I just felt, that personally involved when hearing Kaveri. But it was a brilliant presentation, Kaveri. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wispy.
Prabhakar
VP
Menon
would you like to
VP
come in?
Menon is
Sanjay.
sorry. I
I'm
was just going
waiting
to
for
say that
Sanjay to speak.
No, he said.
Gautam
Sanjay,
is
would you
said he
like to
hasn't heard.
because he said that he would like to congratulate Kaveri on
No, I
her
think it's
excellent
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
presentation.
absolutely.
Vasu
But
had his hand up.
Now I just asked
Vasu.
Prabhakar Khole and he disappeared. Aruna, one last time because I
Mohini,
know she was.
Mohini, Sanjay is waiting to speak.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Sanjay, come on.
Apart
no,
from
no.
Come on,
Okay.
come on.
Okay, just 1 minute. Now, the only I think it was an excellent presentation, but what I don't quite accept is blaming the British for what we are doing. This concept of Hindus killing Muslims and Muslims killing Hindus and everybody blaming the British doesn't work for me. That is one. The second thing is that we know from experience of other countries in other geographies that it's hard for numerically significant and culturally distinct communities to live together. So even in places where there was no Savarkar, no RSS, no Jinnah, no Muslim League, large communities have found it difficult to live in peace. So whether you look at, say, in the Philippines, you have the Mindanao problem, or in Turkey, you have the Kurds, in Pakistan, you have the Baloch who can't get along with the others. So in Spain, you have the Basque. In Ireland, you had a huge division. So the idea that two large culturally distinct communities can always live together in peace, particularly in conditions of the third world, is a little hard to accept, and there seems to be too much evidence against it. What we saw in East Timor, in Indonesia, for instance, where there was a Christian population and they couldn't get along with the other larger group, the Muslim group. So there is a real issue, and it's not just that the British created it. I think it exists not only in India, it exists everywhere. It's a fundamental problem, I feel.
I always
One minute.
wondered
Let me.
where it
No,
started.
I do not agree with what Sanjay is saying. See, when you make religion something to fight for, you make change of clothes, you make what prayers you do, all these little things are the ones which will cause problems. It's happening in the US also, or it's happening in the UK also. You can see it happening right now that the Sikhs have been having problems. The Muslims have been having problems. Everywhere the problem comes through because of religion. Now, this is where we have to change the whole concept of what religion has been doing for us. Bring the religion back below the thing that it is not the most important thing. There is a sense a different sense of humanity that we have to have. And we forget that it is not the little things, that is not these things which matter, but something of tomorrow. Why don't I care for my neighbor? Why don't I see what he or she is doing? Here we are looking at him
No,
religion-wise, we're looking at how much money he's making. Yesterday we were at a place somewhere, and oh, they are very rich persons that they can do it. I said that is not the point. If you have something, it has to be within the heart and talk about it further. Do not let monies and religion to come in the way. That brings on all the problems in the world.
no, about
But
religion, see, Satish, look at it this way. East Pakistan and West Pakistan, they had the same religion. In Balochistan and Pakistan, they have the same religion. The Kurds and the Turks have the same
Yes,
religion.
I
But
agree with you, because
if there's culturally
we make it
distinct
that way.
personality,
We make it that way. It is most easy to say, religion karo, religion se karo. You have to put religion on the back burner, I always feel.
what
The
he's
religion
saying
that
is,
is
I
being taken away.
I
I'm
have
sorry.
I have a slightly different view. I
Mohan,
would
go
say
ahead.
if we embrace our multiple identities, then the problem gets reduced to a large extent. The problem is that we tend to focus on one part of many identities that we all have.
You're
Everybody
right.
has multiple identities, whether it is in terms of religion, language, caste, whatever you name it, the kind of reading you do, the kind of interests you have. If we look at all of them, we will then find bridges to all other people. If we focus on one, then it becomes a little bit of a problem.
Mohan, I'm saying the same thing. I agree with you. This is it. The little things. These are little things that really make the world go wrong. You have to learn to be able to. Why
Yeah.
is Mohan what he is, and what I care for him? Because he's a human being, not because he's of this religion or that religion, or he wears blue shoes or whatever colored ones. No, no, no. This is a wrong thing that's been happening in all over the world.
okay,
I
I think it's
strongly
time
believe,
to.
I strongly believe in this, that we have moved the wrong way. Has to be more within oneself, that everyone is a human being. You
Okay,
forget that.
so can I say that I think it's time to wind up?
Wind up.
No,
Yeah.
I think
It has
no. I
been.
think Asa wanted to say something. She moved as
Who,
if she.
me?
Asa, yeah.
Well, the only thing I want to say is that if there is injustice, like Bangladesh, the original East Pakistan, had won the elections,
Yes.
and Bhutto didn't allow it. So what I'm trying to say is, although the religion was the same, it was the injustice that led to the
Right,
violence and
you're right. You're
partition.
very right. So it is the
So
injustice.
justice becomes very important,
Yes.
right? So
And
even
just
if the
one.
communities are different, if the law applies equally to everyone, now you see in Israel, the law doesn't apply to the Arab citizens. So if there's justice, you prevent
Yeah.
a lot of bloodshed, I think.
Just
That's all
one
I
thing,
had to say. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Mohini, just one thing. Sanjay, in general, I agree with what you're saying, but all the evidence in India's history points towards a deliberate strategy by the British, a
Yes.
strategy to
Yeah.
divide the communities. I agree with what you say. Otherwise, in general, it's very difficult. But when it
Kaveri, we
is
can't.
aggravated by deliberate state
We, we,
policy, it
we can't
causes a
get
problem.
we can't get Metis and cookies to live together in Manipur. How can we blame the British? You know.
No, that we are not doing. No,
Ah,
we're talking about this period. We're talking about this period that we are looking at. There is enough evidence of a deliberate
Yes.
yes.
imperial
Okay.
That's
policy.
been their
Okay.
The
policy.
whole
I told you about that.
concept of
You know, how
divide
many
and
soldiers did they have? Very few. That's the only way in which they could exist, by making
Yes.
sure that,
Yes.
one.
divide and rule,
Otherwise,
separate
I agree with
Absolutely.
state
you
and
in
nation.
general,
Okay.
absolutely. But in
Totally.
this
Yeah.
particular case, this is what had happened.
And
Okay,
here,
so
I'm taking charge here, and I see this is exactly what I'm talking about. We are Here's a group of 20 people We are talking. Have I picked up a hammer or something to knock someone's head out? No. We discuss and talk. That is how the world should be.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Do not
Absolutely.
believe in
Baba should be.
Yeah.
I do not believe in
Religion was
violence. Last time
supposed
I
to
raised
bring
my
out Satish, one
this thing, I
moment.
hit someone. No one.
Religion is supposed to bring out the best in a human being.
But that's the
It is
religion is not
supposed
being
to.
properly taken
But
care
is
of.
it doing that?
You have to be able to.
It's a reason to divide. It's a reason to see difference.
Yes, it's a reason to divide. You hit it.
So, religion should be a private affair. It should not come out on the street. Yeah?
I
Should.
Yes.
But the reality is something different. Okay? Right.
So,
So, Kaveri.
I think Kaveri,
Excellent.
how much interest it has brought. I'm so glad that you finally started to speak. And yes, there are many more other books which are there. Please pick them up and start reading. It's the
Yes.
And here we have had different inclinations. And did I throw a stone or did you try to hit me on the head? No, we didn't. That's it. That's how it should be. It doesn't matter that Kaveri and I have different ideas. No, we don't.
That is what a book.
I tried to do it, but you're 4 kilometers away.
Even then.
As I said,
to oblige you, Gautam.
You asked Moini.
That's why I've kept him. I've kept him in the admins. Although he does precious little. But he adds these, you see, which are very precious.
Okay.
Anyway. Yes,
I
Satish,
think,
please wind up since
Kaveri,
you are in charge.
it was very good. It was excellent. A lot of people spoke up. A few IIM guys turned up here. We made a mistake. I should have sent this to them earlier. But I think we should meet off. We should reach out to more people on subjects like this. And I think, thank you for bringing this out and presenting it to us like this.
Absolutely.
Very, very nicely. Enjoyed listening to this. I knew some ideas. I said I have kept my ideas book.
You can post them on the
this book. I did take it up.
Savarkar, yeah, very complex person. Yeah,
and this book I've kept
for which he's, I think, he's got an award now. He's got a history award recently. Yes, couple of
what
days
award doesn't matter. He's a nice guy. Oh, by the way,
you met him at JLF, yeah.
He and I argued with a British. He and I supported each other. Argued with a British speaker on what Churchill was.
Dalrymple, I think, is an honorary Indian.
Jaipur literature. This happened.
Right. This youngster has grown up in India, Sam Dalrymple, in Delhi.
Okay. I think more. Now I think you end this place.
I should end it. Okay. So, thanks to Kaveri. Kaveri, you're such a good presenter. Why don't you do it often? I mean, I remember you said that you like nonfiction. But what an excellent job you did of Tomb of Sand. Excellent. I mean, we were buddy reading together, group of some 5 or 6. Her insights were so good. She led the reading. So, please, we'd like to see more of this. Okay, and thank you, everybody who came.
Thank you.
Who participated,
thank you, all of you.
Commented.
And Azra, please keep on coming.
I have been very regular.
Yeah.
I know you're very regular, I must say.
Okay.
Getting up early in the morning to attend the session.
All the best.
Only when I'm traveling, I'm not there. But thank you so much.
But noticed and appreciated, by the way.
Thanks, Kaveri. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Next Sunday, me and Sunita together are presenting.
Where's Sunita? She's not there.
Arundhati Roy's memoir. Okay? Sunday.
Thank you, Kaveri. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
You are host. You need to close up. You need to stop recording and close up.
Right.
Who? I have to do that?
Kaveri,
No, I'll just stop the
Kaveri.
She is the
recording.
host.
Record. I'll just stop it. One sec. Request to record. Cancel. Okay,
No,
it's gone,
right
I think.
next to it is stop recording.
Yeah, let me see. Record. Start. No, I think it's stopped now, right?
No, it'll say when it stops.
I got it.
Have you
Stop.
found the
Let
button
me go to more.
there?
Record. Okay, there
Pause.
it is.
Stop.
Record
There.
settings. Include show videos. Change.
See, host, share, host tools, AI companion apps, pause, stop recording. That. And there's more and end. So just say stop recording.
Yeah, I'm just checking more.
No. Okay. Stop recording comes just before that. Before more. Okay. I'm doing it. I hope it works.
I don't know why it's not working here.
Oh, it stopped
Okay.
working here. Yeah.
It stopped recording?